Poppin' everybody, this is Rule94, bringing you guys Pokemon sets from past formats. We already started with the original EX series, covered EX Ruby and Sapphire, and today of course I'm going to look at the second set, EX Sandstorm. So Sandstorm, second set, got released in 2003, September 17th it says here, and another very cool set. The theme is Sandstorm of course, Route 111 in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. It's got the Sandstorm theme. We got a bunch of fossil Pokemon here. You're gonna have the desert as background art for many of these cards. Really cool. Brings back the evolutions, their first debut in the third generation, and a bunch of other cool cards. This set is actually it started shaking things up for the EX metagame. It's not like EX Ruby had great cards too, but in this set we actually have some real Pokemon EXs, actual EXs that can do some shit. The original ones in Ruby and Sapphire, they're kind of weak. So let's start with the most important cards. And the most important card in this set, in my opinion at least, has to be probably this guy, Dunsparce. I mean, there's a bunch of other cards, but let's start with the Pokemon too. Pokemon-wise, this might be the most important guy. So this Dunsparce is actually going to get reprinted. Same art, similar style and effects and shit in the Champions Road or the Hoenn equivalent set, whatever it's going to be that's going to come out. I can't wait after Forbidden Light. And this was a very important Pokemon because it was a great opener for a long time. For as long as, well, before we got Jirachi from EX Deoxys, yeah, Dunsparce. Because of Strike and Run. You search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon and you put them on your bench. And then you actually have the option to switch Dunsparce with one of your bench Pokemon. So not only did you grab 3 guys, strong, call for family type of attack, fill your bench, set up in the beginning, Bridget style, as you guys know, in the form of an attack. You actually have the option to switch him. And I'm not sure if you really wanted to do this many times. Sometimes maybe you did, sometimes maybe you didn't. Because, I mean, at this point, once you search your guys, you just might as well leave him as a decoy there, I guess. I don't know. But the attack was definitely great. This was the basis of setting up. You wanted to open with this guy. You probably ran like 4, I guess maybe 3. I don't know. I think people just ran 4 to increase your chances of opening with him. Set up your bench Pokemon, your setup guys for later when we get Pidgeot, and your Stage 2, Stage 1 guys. Setting up was important. Played a bunch of Stage 2 Pokemon, Stage 1 Pokemon. That was the name of the game basically. And setting them up early, making sure that we're out, and then evolving them with another card in this set, the original card that made the stage decks real. Yeah, so good. And his attack, Sudden Flash, probably never used this. I mean, I guess since he was active, you might have started to use it after you do Strike and Run. You do 10 for 1, and maybe if you get lucky, you'll get Paralysis as well. But the main thing was Strike and Run. You grab your guys. Okay, so for other Pokemon, there's a bunch of other good stuff, but not of really amazing, super significant. We're going to cover the hollows and shit. We got a bunch of cool stuff, but I'm going to talk about the most important stuff. And the other most important thing in this set is definitely the rare candy. So this is actually the original rare candy that came in this set, the almighty powerful before they added it effect. Man, I miss this kind of effect so much. Basically, you choose one of your basic Pokemon and you just evolve it. You have the option to evolve it to the stage 1 or stage 2. So you could basically do this on the first turn as well. That was the beauty of it. The first turn of the game, or the first turn you played your basic Pokemon down. So not only could you instantly get into your stage 2 Pokemon, turn 1 and shit, if you actually just wanted to get to your stage 1 guys quickly, you could just do this and bring the stage 1 guy out too. So you probably didn't run this maybe a lot if you just were running stage 1 Pokemon, like let's say Donphan and shit. Man, I'm thinking of Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But anyway, thing is that it was flexible. So if you were running a bunch of stage 2 Pokemon anyway, and had stage 1s too, and you had a spare rare candy in hand, or you just had rare candy in general, boom, you can just bring them out, no problem. Amazing, amazing card, of course. This was why the shit sort of changed from running basic Pokemon, people favoring basic Pokemon, to running stage Pokemon. This card, for as soon as it got released in here, like with Pokeball, Switch, and some other cards like Potion and shit, I think it has always been around. They always make sure to reprint it. Of course, it's much weakened nowadays in the Sun and Moon era and since the Black and White era, sadly. But maybe it's actually for a good thing, because now with the GX Pokemon and shit and all the stuff, maybe the overpowered candy would be too much. But who knows? It would be interesting. Everybody can use this anyway. So I don't know. But this was definitely a broken card, essential for Stage 2 decks. You ran 4 for sure. Got reprinted a bunch of times in this era. And yeah, ever since then anyway. An excellent card. The original rare candy isn't here. Alright. So I guess since I'm here, might as well talk about the other trainer support cards. Not really a lot. We have double full heal. This is basically full heal, but since this is the EX era where double battles, you can have 2 active Pokemon, like I said in the previous video. You remove all special conditions from each of your active Pokemon. That's why it says double full heal. But this card has always been kind of meh. Switch has always been better because it provides more flexibility. So yeah. And we have Lunette's Net Search. Cool card, Lunette, from the 3rd generation games, of course. The PC chick for the PC storage system and shit. Improved it. Bill created it and she improved it according to the lore. And this card is pretty good as well. It has a little limitation, a small limitation, but it's still good. You search your deck for up to 3 different types of basic Pokemon cards, excluding baby Pokemon, and you put them into your hand. So this is like a weaker Pokemon collector, slightly different Bridget. Bridget brings the Pokemon on the bench. This you grab them to the hand, so this is better. But you have to get 3 different types. So a fire, a water, a lightning, for example. You can't get 3 of the same type. So this made it kind of annoying. Now, in those days, people ran various types of stage Pokemon, like, for example, it didn't get released yet, but later on we would get Pidgeot, we would get other Pokemon. I mean, we already had Delcatty from the first set. So, you know, if you're running Blaziken, you could grab a Torchic, you could grab Skitty, and maybe something else. Up to 3, it says. So you can even grab 2. So it's not bad. It's not bad. And this is a great card still. If you were running a bunch of different basic Pokemon, you had to grab a bunch of different ones. I basically act like a collector, basically. You can't grab all of the same type, of course, so that's why collector is better. But then again, collector is a much newer card. Either way. So very good card. Very cool card from this set. Original card from EX Sandstorm. Next up, we got Wally's. Well, Wally's training, actually, not just Wally. And it basically acts like the Wally we have nowadays. You search your deck for a card that evolves from your active Pokemon, and you put it onto your active Pokemon. So I guess it's a little bit weaker. It has to be the active. I think Wally, the one we have now, works for the bench too. Man, it's crazy. That card helps fucking Trevenant so much, but yeah. It's not a bad card. It definitely saw use, I believe, before Celio's network and Professor Elm's training method. Professor Elm, something like that, came out. So you could grab evolution Pokemon. And I believe you can grab EX Pokemon too. So he's good. Got the nice art here. You get Wally and Routes. OG shit. And then we got the fossils. We got Claw Fossil and Root Fossil and Mysterious Fossil. So Mysterious Fossil is the original fossil. And unfortunately, even though in this EX era, they improved it later on, we'll get a Mysterious Fossil that has like 50 HP. But in this first set, they still had the Mysterious Fossil with 10 HP, the original one. The one from Fossil, the original set, basically, has the same art too. But at least when it dies, it doesn't count as a knocked out Pokemon. And it's basically, yeah, the fossil. Like I've said, we get the fossil Pokemon in here. I think the only one in here is Aminate and Amistar. I'm not sure if there's Kabutops too from the old guys. Oh, there's actually Aerodactyl to Aerodactyl EX. We'll cover that. But I don't think there's Kabutops in here. I might be wrong, but we'll find out. But yeah, Mysterious Fossil, 10 HP. You can discard it at any time during your turn. If it dies, your opponent doesn't get a prize. So yeah, I guess if you want to run the 10 HP one. But the new shit, the cool shit, of course, was the Root Fossil and Claw Fossil to represent Lilip and Anorith, the new fossil Pokemon for this generation. The second generation, basically, of fossil Pokemon. The new fossil Pokemon that came out back then. So, Root Fossil has 40 HP, and that's the same for Claw Fossil too. And you play it as if it was a basic Pokemon. And it can't retreat, it can't be affected by special conditions, and it actually doesn't count as a knocked out Pokemon too, so that's pretty cool. I thought these guys acted like basic Pokemon, but no, I think that they changed that in the DP, not here. So that's good, and you can discard it at any time during your turn, I think. Yeah, but what this thing does, it has more HP. It obviously is the only way to bring out Lilip and Cradle, and they also have a Pokepower, and in this case, Spongy Stone. At any time between turns, remove one damage counter from Root Fossil. So it helped itself stay alive, basically, until you brought out Lilip. But the downside is that, unlike the DP2, these cards didn't act as basic Pokemon if you open with them. And that was actually pretty sad. That probably would have been better. Yeah, they act like basic Pokemon if they die, but that means you can open with this in setup too. So if you were playing a fossil deck, you basically needed to have a billion of basic Pokemon because your root fossils and your Cradle, Lilipline, whatever, for example, it didn't really count as basic Pokemon, the root fossil. So it was kind of annoying. I'm pretty sure that's what the rule was. So sad. But then again, I guess if it dies, your opponent doesn't get a prize. Either way, nice card. Original root fossil and the claw fossil. Basically same type of effect and rules and shit. The only difference is that this card has Jacked Stone as a body. And this is basically every time it gets attacked, you put one damage counter on the attacking Pokemon. So this is the offensive one. It doesn't heal itself. It damages your opponent for attacking it. Alright. And multi-energy since I'm here. So this is actually the original set that featured multi-energy. This card got reprinted a bunch of times. The latest time it got reprinted, I think it was Mysterious Treasures. I don't think we got this again. We kind of got this in Dragons Exalted in 2 split cards, basically. But basically, this energy provides every type of energy, and it's not going to provide anything when attached to a Pokemon that already has a special energy attached to it. So it's going to provide everything, but it's just going to provide colorless if you have more special energy on the Pokemon and you use this. I think that's what it does, right? Yeah, not exactly reading it. But it was a pretty good card, of course. I'm pretty sure you can imagine. Provide anything. It's like a rainbow energy without the drawback kind of thing. Alright, so since I'm in the neighborhood of the Sandstorm bottom set, let's talk about the EXs. So these are actually proper EX Pokemon that actually did shit. On the second set, the first set didn't do much. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, so there's Kabutops. So we don't get a regular Kabutops, but we get a Kabutops EX and just a regular Omastar. But yeah, these are the EXs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A lot of them, we used to get a lot in the Level X formats, but we'll get only a couple of Level X Pokemon. But these guys were hard to pull, man. They were still fucking hard. You would maybe get 2 from a box, I think, if you were lucky. Something like that. It really depended on the type of set and box. I have never, unfortunately, had the privilege of owning or opening up an EX Series booster box, so I don't know. I'll probably never know because they're $1,000 a piece now. Very sad. But let's start. Should we go with order, or should I cover the strongest one first? Okay, let's go with order. So Aerodactyl DX looks very cool. So this Pokemon, you need the Mysterious Fossil to bring out, and it's an EX Pokemon, 100 HP. It's okay, I guess, since it's going to be acting like a Stage 1 EX Pokemon. A good fighting resistance, and 1 retreat cost. Would have been better if it was free, but 1 will do. And as long as Aerodactyl DX is in play, your opponent can't play any Pokemon tool cards. And you remove any Pokemon tool cards attached to your opponent's what? Pokemon, yeah, and put them in the discard pile. Yeah, the Cerebi effect has some errors. So blocks your opponent can't play Pokemon tool cards, and anything that's already on gets discarded from your opponent's Pokemon. So disruptive shit works from the bench too. It's not probably going to be as powerful as blocking powers or bodies or stuff like that, but it's still major disruption. Your opponent being fucked over from tool cards might be something. We had a lot of great tool cards in the EX era. Maybe they didn't get released immediately, but it's a good effect. Then we got Supersonic, its first attack. Does 10 for 1. The defending Pokemon is now confused. Decent, I guess. Not going to do the greatest damage, but it's always auto-confused, works with any energy. And then Wing Attack, just a 3 for 60 attack. So this Pokemon isn't exactly miles more amazing than the ones from things like Mewtwo EX from the first set, or like perhaps Electabuzz and those guys, but it's definitely better. It's a stage 1, mind you, I guess if you count the fossil part. But works with any energy, has a good resistance. The Pokebody is the main attraction here, giving your opponent that sort of disruption. So not bad, not bad. Next up we got Aggron EX. Big guy, big guy. So 150 HP. The EX Pokemon basically was your gateway to go over the 120 HP cap. Only EX Pokemon did this, not even Pokemon like Wailord and Blissey and shit. Alright, so this dude isn't really that great. I guess I'm eating my words here, but trust me, the EX Pokemon in here are much better than the first set. It can do Rend. So for 3 energy, if the defending Pokemon has any damage counters on it, it's going to do 60 damage, and if not, it just does 30 for 3. So not the greatest again, but works with an energy, I suppose. It's the first attack. And then we got Metal Surge. So this big attack, 5 energy, 50 damage, not that amazing, but it's going to do 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this can actually kind of add up. If your opponent had a full bench, that means you did like what? 5 times 2, that's 100. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. It was gonna do good damage. If your opponent had like, let's say 2 guys, then it just does 90 for 5. Possibly not amazing, but with 3 Pokemon and more, you're piling up the damage. So I said this a billion times when I talk about these cards, but yeah, in the EX format, spread was much more crucial. Those formats were slower, they were more setup oriented, and there wasn't really ways to do funky stuff and mass heal and shit with Garchomp and shit. We did have some cards that got introduced eventually, like the Delta Species Espeon, Metal 1, but early back then, this type of attack, it wasn't that great once again because you probably want to do more damage to the active, but eventually, it was probably going to pay off. You were going to do some solid damage. This doesn't make this a great EX Pokemon, but Metal Surge is not a completely shit attack. It can pile up the damage if you use it right. So 50 to the active and 20 to everybody else. And as you guys can see, this Pokemon 150 HP is big, but it has 2 weaknesses too. So the cool thing with the EX Pokemon, they did, and I wish they did this with the GXs and shit. I talked about this in a video as well, with the 6 changes they need to make and shit. The Pokemon, these types of Pokemon could have double weaknesses, double resistances. They could have retreat costs that went over 4. In this case, this guy has 4, but you'll see Pokemon have 5 and shit. So in this case, Aggron is weak to fighting and fire. So that's kind of sad. I mean, in the future, there's going to be an Aggron that I think has a double resistance too. But another Aggron EX, much better than this. But it looks very cool. I wish it was a little better. Wish it didn't have the double weakness at least, or had double resistance as well. But yeah, you guys can see it's definitely more usable than the first ones. Alright, and now we go to heavy shit. So this is a real EX, and not only is this a real EX, but it's actually a broken Pokemon, as you can imagine from Gardevoir. So Gardevoir EX. This is definitely the original model for Gardevoir GX and shit. Man, 150 HP Stage 2 Pokemon, has no resistance and a double weakness too, so, you know, people can take advantage of that. But it has powerful fucking attacks, man. So feedback, you count the number of cards in your opponent's hand, put that many damage counters on the defending Pokemon. So that's a powerful ass attack. I mean, if your opponent doesn't have a lot of cards in hand, it's not gonna do shit. But I mean, it wasn't that hard to have a big hand back then, and it doesn't have any limitation. Like the limit is 8 damage counters or 7 damage counters or what have you. So you can basically do crazy damage if your opponent has like even just 5 to 6 cards is like uh, 50 for 2, basically 60 for 2, and anything over that is just very good damage for back then, doing 60 for 2. And you put you put the damage counters type of effect. There's an effect of an attack, so it'll go over a lot of shit too. So powerful, man. And Sandstorm, this was even crazier. It's a big energy cost to do it, 4 energies, but it's going to do 10 damage times the total amount of all energy attached to all Pokemon in play. So this is a very wide effect cover. What I mean is it covers a lot of ground. So it's going to do 40 since you're going to need 4 to attack with Gardevoir already. So anything else your opponent has just adds from there. If you have a bunch of Pokemon with energies too, it just adds from there. Obviously it has synergy with the first Gardevoir from EX Ruby, the regular stage 2, which grabs energies from the deck. So you could do a lot of damage. You were going to put the hurt on. No limitations, once again, no limit. You can do as many energies as you have. So this was definitely a very powerful Pokemon for the time, and it became one of the best decks for that time. Gardevoir EX, I was going to say GX. Very good. Cool card. So this is definitely possibly the best EX from this set. Don't think there was anything else. There's a bunch of other guys that are pretty good too, but this is definitely the strongest one, hands down. We got Kabutops X. This guy can be interesting as well, I guess. 150 HP, double weakness once again. Yeah, and has Hydro Cutter. Flip a number of coins equal to the amount of energy attached to Kabutops EX. It's going to do 40 damage times the number of heads, and you can't flip more than 3 coins. Thank God, because even with that, it's just strong. So basically, if you put 3 energies on this dude, you can flip 3 coins. If you get 2 heads, that's 80 for 3. That's good enough. If you get 3 heads, that's 120 for 3. That's very good. Excellent. And if you get 1, you know, that sucks. So you're probably going to need to have like a bunch of energies to make this work. If you just have 2, then it means you're going to do 40 damage on average. Not the greatest, but I guess for 2 energies, not horrible either. But yeah, not the greatest attack. The second attack is definitely much better. Spiral Drain. For 4 energies, you do 70 damage. That's good. And you always heal 2 damage counters from Kabutops EX. And if you have less, you heal less. So that's good. Since this guy is big, you know, with a bunch of potions and this healing effect, once you get it going, you could actually make this guy be an efficient tank. I mean, unless your opponent used Lightning or Grass Pokemon, maybe. But, you know, it's not bad. 70 for 4, and you heal 2 damage too. It's pretty solid. I mean, Gardevoir is definitely better, but this guy is definitely usable. I mean, it's a fossil Pokemon too, so maybe you expect more. But not bad, not bad. Okay, next up we got Raichu EX. This Pokemon is pretty nice too. The original Raichu EX. We actually got 2 in the EX era. I think that's kind of unfair. Some Pokemon got like 2 EXs that weren't even Hoenn Pokemon. And then others, like, you would think they would get at least 1. They didn't get shit. So, Raichu EX. 100 HP. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a free retreat again. Kind of a waste. 1 retreat. But at least it doesn't have a double resistance. And you have Dazzle Blast. You flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now confused. So 1 for 20 with the confused type of effect if you get heads. Alright. And Mega Thunderbolt is the main attack. You do 120 for 3 and you discard all energy attached to Raichu EX. Powerful. So even though you discard everything, 120 is pretty broken for back then. You don't get crazy damage like this unless it has a very fucked up sort of condition effect like this. I mean, it would have been better if it just said discard or lightning, I think, because then maybe if you have a different energy on, you can save it. But either way, you're gonna blast something in the face with this, possibly kill it if it's not an EX Pokemon. Stage 2 guys are gonna die. They don't go over 120, so pretty powerful. Now, we really don't have a way to grab and accelerate lightning energies, but hey, can be something. Good attack. Alright, Typhlosion EX. This guy is also pretty good. Might be, possibly could be the second best, I feel like, after Gardevoir EX. So this guy has 160 HP, so he's the biggest motherfucker. And for the most part, EX Pokemon, they would have like stage 2 guys between 150 HP and 160 was like the maximum. I don't think anybody went over that. Not even Tyranitar. I don't think it ever had 170 even here. So yeah, I think 160 was the maximum cap for these guys, unless they were Wailord. But this guy has Ring of Fire. It's going to do 3 for 40, and the defending Pokemon is not burned and can retreat until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that's a good thing, because it means that, you know, if they're going to have the burn, they're going to have to flip a couple of coins before they can retreat, unless they switch and shit. So maybe you'll get lucky and add on the damage. It's not a super amazing attack, but it's definitely good providing these mini effects. I mean, even if you don't get the burn, forcing your opponent not being able to retreat is a good effect. And Split Blast, you do 100 for 5 and you discard an energy card attached to Typhlosion EX. And if your opponent has more than one defending Pokemon, so if it was a double battle with 2 active Pokemon, you do 50 damage to each of them. You may do 50 damage to each of them instead. So what you can do basically is, instead of doing 100 to your opponent's 1, you can do 50 to both of them if they were playing 2. So you can spread the damage around basically. If one of them was going to die anyway, you didn't need to do all this much damage. So double battle mechanics once again. 100 for 5 is pretty standard, and I guess you have to discard an energy too. Later on, I believe there's Aerodactyl EX that can do 100 for 5 straight up. So yeah, it gives you that additional split the damage option. So not bad if you part this up. Keep in mind you can still use something like Blaziken from the first set. It's going to need a lot of energies, but 100 damage is a lot. Possibly other Pokemon were better. Maybe the regular Blaziken doing 80 is enough. Since with 100 you're not going to get one-hit knockouts anyway on stage 2 Pokemon. But he's definitely something. He's powerful. For back then anyway. And last but not least, the craziest motherfucker, the record-breaking motherfucker, and the most iconic card from this set, if you ask me, I think, is Wailord EX with 2 motherfucking 100 HP, 200 HP, and the big ass crazy 5 retreat cost. This guy was breaking records like left and right. So not only did people get caught off guard with EX Pokemon having more than the 120 HP that we're used to, Wailord basically blew all those expectations out of the water. From only the second EX set, this guy having 200 HP is pretty crazy. They weren't messing around at all. And it's crazy because even with all this crazy shit they did, this was balanced stuff, man. This was like the most balanced era, straight up. But anyway, I digress. So with 200 HP, this was the biggest motherfucker. Nothing really exceeded this. We had to go into the DP era with basically Wailord just being a regular Pokemon and having 200 HP. And then later on with Primal Clash, Wailord EX, the new EX Wailord, having 250 HP to break that record once again. So this 200 HP you see right here was a record. Like it wasn't gonna get any better for like 14 more sets and shit, like for the EX era. And this is just for the EX era. So the same with the retreat cost. First Pokemon to have a 5 retreat cost, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so for the attacks, you have Super Deep Dive. If you don't have any bench Pokemon, this attack does nothing. And you remove 3 damage counters from Wailord EX, then you switch Wailord EX with one of your bench Pokemon. So this is basically like tank shit. Not only does it have 200 HP, you help keep him alive to stall, I guess. And Dwindling Wave, it's going to do 100 for 4, but it's going to do minus 10 for each damage counter on Wailord EX. So if you get really hurt, this attack becomes useless. Maybe if you have like 1 or 2 damage counters on, it's still good, 80 for 4. And obviously what you want to do is use potions, use healing shit, have this guy be always healed, because then 100 for 4 is very, very good. So he's actually not bad. Might be, I don't think he might even be better than Typhlosion when I think about it. Who knows? Both this guy, Typhlosion, and Kabutops are pretty good. Raichu is pretty good too. Maybe Aerodactyl can be pretty nice as well. So that's the beauty of it. You can't really decide which is the best guy. Aggron might not be too handy too with the spreading attack, but definitely the best was Gardevoir EX. So these are the EXs. Not bad, not bad. So I guess now I'm going to cover some of the more maybe minor stuff. That's a low way to put it. But we have a bunch of interesting cards. Okay, so before I get to the rare hollows, might as well just talk about Eevee since I'm right here. So Eevee with Signs of Evolution. So we've seen a billions of Eevees with the searching evolution support shit where Eevee basically helps itself to grab its evolution pieces or evolve into them or do fancy stuff like that. And this is one of those Eevees, very good. The original Signs of Evolution Eevee, you search your deck for up to 3 cards that evolve from Eevee, and you put them into your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. So a strong searching attack, you can get up to 3 cards, man. You can even grab a bunch of the same evolution, basically, if you were just running 1 and shit. So very, very, very good. One of the best Eevees for sure in Sandstorm here. And we do have a bunch of evolutions that might be something. Okay, so let me talk about them. So first of all, we got Flareon. 80 HP, 2 or 3 cost, a little big for a small Pokemon like this, but either way. It has Super Cinch. You flip a coin if heads to any Pokemon is not burned and you do 20. Not that special. And Flamethrower is going to do 70 for 4. You discard a Fire Energy. This might not be that bad actually. Possibly Camerupt is still better. And Blaziken from the first set is better. But hey, this is Eevee. If you play a bunch of evolutions, you get to take advantage of the different types and shit. You'll need the energies too, but it's Flareon. Not one of the best maybe, but I know there's some decent ones. Next we got Jolteon. 70 HP, has a metal resistance. Doesn't have free retreat, has 1. Sad, but yeah. Double kick, you flip 2 coins. It's going to do 20 damage for each heads. Okay, not that great. And Lightning Strike. You may discard all Lightning Energy cards attached to Jolteon. If you do, it's going to do 70 instead of 40 for 3. So this might actually not be too bad, I guess. If you discard 2, you have another energy on it. That's not lightning. So you do 70 on your discard 2. Not that bad, not that bad maybe. And where are the other Eevees? Okay, we got Espeon. This is actually one of the better ones, I feel like. Talked about this card in my Espeon TCG overview. Nice. So 80 HP, 1 retreat, not bad. Confuse Ray, you flip a coin. Heads if any Pokemon is now confused, and it does 20 for 1 too. It's really nice, really good damage. And Energy Crush, it's going to do 20 damage plus 10 more damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So the cool thing about this attack is that it really helps with the evolution type shit that I'm talking about, because it works with any energy. So maybe if you're running the fire, running Flareon or Jolteon or what have you, you can also run this, and it's going to give you that psychic type coverage. Energy Crush works with any energy, and it's a good attack. If your opponent had a bunch of energies on their Pokemon, it's going to do some good damage, man. So I feel like this is a great Espeon from this set. Good evolution for sure. And now all that's left is Umbreon and Vaporeon next to each other. Got Vaporeon, Umbreon I mean. You got Confuse Ray 2. You flip a coin if heads to the defending Pokemon is not confused. So the same attack, but 10 weaker. Works with any energy though. Okay, maybe that's not that amazing. And Moon Impact, it's going to do 40 for 3. Alright, but it's a dark Pokemon, so you can use the special dark, make this guy stronger. Granted, you only have 4, but yeah, it's got the Psychic Resistance. Okay, not that special, but it's there. And last but not least, Vaporeon does 30 for 2 with Aurora Beam, and Aquasonic, 50 for 3, and won't be affected by resistance. A pretty solid attack, doing 50 for 3, good enough damage output. And not being affected by resistance, there's a bunch of Pokemon that resist water, grass Pokemon and shit, not bad. The only sad thing is the HP. I mean, 70, I guess it's standard, but since it's Vaporeon, I think it would have been better if it had like 90 for sure. Very good art though, with the, I think this is the ocean in the background, a bunch of trees there. You got the sun or moon setting, whatever. Nice, very nice. So these are the evolutions. They debuted in here. I thought I mentioned them. Not the greatest, but good enough for back then. So for Holo Pokemon, let's talk about the fossil shit. Obviously, this is the Armaldos and Cradleys kind of set, you could say. They had the themed X2 with them. So this Armaldo, as long as it's active, each player can't play any supporter card. So this is powerful. Supporters were a big deal back then. They're a big deal all the time, but especially back then, I feel like. So blocking them is pretty rough. You can't use them either. But I guess if you're running this, then maybe you cooked up a plan to make it work. Blade Arms, 60 for straight 3. Pretty good, I suppose, for back then. This is a fossil Pokemon, so maybe you expect more. But the Pokebot is definitely powerful. Alright, next up we got Cradle. Pretty interesting. I remember my friend actually had a theme deck of this. It was crazy. Anyway, Super Suction Cups, as long as Cradle is your active Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon can't retreat. Cool. And a little poison. Before using this effect, you may switch it if any Pokemon one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and you poison the new Pokemon. So the cool thing is this body and this first attack, they have some pretty neat synergy. You could pull anything you wanted, so maybe you pull something useless like your opponent's Dunsparce or another Pokemon they don't really want stuck in the active, a support Pokemon, maybe even Delcat, let's say, and you're going to poison it, so you're going to pile up the damage. With Super Suction Cups, they weren't going to be able to retreat. They were going to need a switch or a Warp Point or what have you. And Spiral Drain, 50 for 2, 50 for 3, and you remove 2 damage counters from Cradle II. So you can get some good healing going. Makes this, it's going to be like a mini tank as well. And nice little Pokemon, Cradle II looks pretty cool. I'm sure it's possibly a very good haul if I have it in person. Nice. Okay, so for the other rare holos, I guess, let's talk about Cacturne. This guy is also going to get reprinted on the new sets of the Sun and Moon shit with this art. Hopefully he's good. We got Poison, Payback. If this guy's active and he gets hurt, you always poison the opponent. That can be pretty strong. Feint Attack is just decent. It's a 40 snipe for 3. Works with any energy, but the sad thing is that it won't hit for weakness. It won't hit for anything, like it ignores resistance, bodies, powers, any effects basically. So yeah, but not hitting for weakness kind of sucks. Oh well, decent Pokemon too. One of the cool cards to get for me. Next we got Dusclops, the original Dusclops 2. Looks pretty cool as well. I own this card actually. Very nice. The first attack is a broken attack if you get it off. It's Judgment. You flip 2 coins. If both are heads, you knock out the Pokemon. So if you do this on an EX, your opponent, it basically just might as well just scoops. It's just too great of an advantage if you manage to get this off, like with luck. Yeah, losing an EX Pokemon like that so easily. You put yourself in a major lead. But as a luck attack, you need 2 heads. And Random Curse, you can put a total of 5 damage counters on all defending Pokemon. So basically your opponent's second Pokemon if they have one in double battle. So it's like 50 for 3, but it's an effective attack. Put damage counters. Ludicolo. Okay, so this guy's a little bit disappointing. A stage 2 for 9 HP. I don't really dig this much. It can heal itself every time with Rain Dish at any time between turns. You remove 1 damage counter. But it needs to be a little better than this, I think. And Hydro Punch. Hydro Punch. Alright. 50 damage for 3. And you can add 10 more for each water energy. You can add 20 more. So I guess you can do 60 for 4 or 70 for 5. Yeah. Sounds about right. Okay, next up we got Lunatone and Soulrock. I want to talk about these guys too. Once during your turn, if Soulrock is in play, you can have this guy be dark and Cosmic Draw. If your opponent has any evolved Pokemon, you can draw 3 cards. Lunar Blast does 3 for 30 for 2. So yeah, Soulrock has similar shit. If the Lunatone is out, you can become a fire type until the end of the turn. It's probably a more useful type than dark. And same attack, Cosmic Draw, you draw 3 if your opponent has any evolved Pokemon. And Solar Blast is 40 for 3 though. I think Lunatone's attack is better, but this guy has more HP and better typing. Being fighting and transforming into fire is better, possibly. Maybe. A lot of Pokemon resisted fighting back then too. But yeah, very good holo too. Original Soulrock and shit. And you can use them together, I guess. We got Molly and Sableye. I guess since they're holos, I'll talk about them. You got Scam. Look at your opponent's hand. You force your opponent to shuffle a supporter card if you find it there. And your opponent draws a card, so it's not all that great, but I guess it's some sort of disruption. Metal Hook is much better. You do 20 for 2, but you can actually pull anybody you want and do the damage on that guy. So nice. And Sableye, I think this guy might be better. It has a weakness to fighting actually, which is something that is bullshit. Later on they fixed this because Sableye is supposed to not have weakness. But from what it says here, it has a weakness to fighting, so wow. A very rare type of Sableye, the first Sableye. So Supernatural, I think this first attack is better. You look at your opponent's hand, you may use the effect of a supporter you find there as the attack. And you also do, oh no, you don't do 10 damage, it's bullshit what it says here. Okay. And Dark Bind, you do 20 for 2, and you can paralyze the opponent if you want to discard a Dark Energy. We only had a few Darkness Energy, I guess maybe you can use Multi-Energy and do some funky shit. But yeah, instant paralysis is always strong. And next we got the haters, Zangoose and Seviper. So Zangoose is actually a pretty solid Pokemon, solid basic Pokemon for back then because of Super Slash. The defending Pokemon was an evolved Pokemon. It was going to do 60 damage. Works with any energy, and evolved Pokemon was the way to go back then. So 60 for 3, and you can put an energy to do this. Is great for a basic Pokemon. You couldn't get better than this on just a basic non-EX Pokemon. I mean, if you think about it, this is as much as Mewtwo EX does, like, straight up. You got Target Slash. If the defending Pokemon is Seviper, it's going to do 40 instead of 10, so Seviper Hate. And this guy can't be poisoned too. Alright, and let's look at the Seviper Hater now. What do you do to hate? So a grass Pokemon, yeah, before they became Psychic, the poison Pokemon. Deadly Poison, you may discard a grass energy attached to Seviper. If you do, the defending Pokemon is poisoned. And if the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, the defending Pokemon is now asleep and poisoned. And you do 20. So not enough hate on Zangoose. Okay. But it does provide EX hate though. It's gonna poison and put to sleep the EX Pokemon. Okay. Shiftry. Talked about this card in my Shiftry review too. This guy might be something. I guess if you play a bunch of these Shiftries and you play a bunch of maybe Super Energy Removal 2 cards with Fan Away. Maybe you can have some Energy Disruption go and strip your opponent's Pokemon of energy. Because what Fan Away does is once you're on your turn, you can flip a coin. If heads, you return an energy attached to the defending Pokemon to your opponent's hand. So you can slow them down with Energy Removal 2. You can discard the energies if you get lucky too. So playing a bunch of these cards together, maybe you can fuck them up this way. And Light Touch Throw, if your opponent doesn't have, I guess it does 84 4, and it's going to do -10 for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So usually your opponent was probably going to have a bunch of energies on the Pokemon. They needed a bunch to attack maybe, so it was going to be kind of weak. You need to do at least 74 4, I guess, for this attack to be considered solid, I guess. And maybe with Fan Away and Energy Removal 2, you can accomplish that, but I don't know. I feel like maybe you can hit the Blaziken decks that discard energy when they attack and shit, maybe, but then again, you're weak to them, so not sure how good that's going to be. But he's good enough, I guess, for the first shift tree. We get a normal one as well, which is kind of shit. We got Kessleon. That's how I call it. People call it Kecleon. For me, it's Kessleon anyway. Energy variation. It's gonna have more type for each energy, basic energy this guy has. It becomes that type. So you hit a lot of things for weakness, I guess, if you have a bunch of them. Double Scratch doesn't do much though. Coin flip attack. Featured in the desert once again, as you guys can see. Yeah, good shit, man. They feature the desert and shit in so many cards. Look at the Azumarill 2 here, and you got Baltoy. That means we have Cradle in here too, right? Must be. There's a Vigoroth too. Where is it? Yeah, I just like the concept art on this dude. Original shit. And it's in the desert as well. It's not that great. The Ruby one is better, but this guy's cool. And man, I could be here all day. There's probably more amazing cards to cover, but we're gonna be here all day. I think I covered most of the important cards. At least I think. Let's look at what you do. You can attach water energies from your hand with this attack. Drizzle, max bubbles. For each energy attached to all of your active Pokemon, you flip a coin. You can do more damage for each heads. Okay. So I think I covered most of this shit. This shift tree isn't good. Sandslash isn't that great either. Omastar, I guess. Let's talk about you. This guy basically has the Espeon X attack we have nowadays. Pulldown. You remove the highest stage evolution Pokemon from all of your opponent's Pokemon. You put them back into your hand. And Hydro Cannon. It's not that great of an attack. It's going to do 30 for 2 and then add 20 more for each water energy. Can add more than 40. Arcanine burns the opponent with the body. That's basically it. So I think this is a wrap. Spent enough time on this set, I think. I could be here all day, but don't want to make it too long for you guys. It's going to be long anyway. So this is Sandstorm, a very, very good set. I had an opportunity to get this too back in the day, man. I would see this set at $200 and shit. I saw this on Amazon, a bunch of them actually. The guy had like 3 or something. There were like 3 available from $200. I wanted to get it, but I was broke again. We didn't, and I really regret it. This was one of the last sets, I guess, that maybe you had a chance of getting. It was like the last set that from the EX sets that didn't get expensive immediately for some reason. It got expensive, but the other ones got crazy super quick. This was like not sought after as much for some reason. I don't understand why, but especially when I look at it now, it's a great set, great classic set. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, share this with your friends. Saberwolf94, what's up?